Hey everybody. Hey Blissful, Gary, Callie, Batgirl and Janet, Jill, um, you know, all you people. Today is going to be an interesting show. This is going to be based on their truth, only their truth. Whatever. There's a whole lot of mess going on between this MRB and Natasha and things that took place and things that didn't. There's a lot of finger pointing, false blame going around. You guys know the game. And ultimately, this is one person's perspective that was actually part of it and has receipts to back up what they say, and kind of put an end to the rumors because people love rumors. So hey Roddy, cheese. Mike, thank you for the super chat while before I was live. I appreciate that. So I also want to point out there's been a little, I guess, tensions building up with a few people. I don't know. Hey, Mike, I will say that I've never used my platform as somebody else's mouthpiece, right? I've always stood up for people. I talk about what I'm passionate about. I care about people. I care about subscribers, and I care about people who've gone through horrible things on here without a doubt. But I don't over there. I was battling them for over 9 months on my own, quite frankly. Um, I can't be. I have full service. Oh, that's weird. Okay. I see that that just went out. That is so weird. What I was saying though is there was a time where when I was going against Lysol and everything in between, there were people that are now on this side that were on that side. There's people that were on this side that are now on that side. But ultimately, who stayed were all of you in the chat. All of you in the chat were the reason I was able to get through everything I've gone through. And you never left. You didn't jump ship. You stayed by me. You supported me. And I'm very fortunate to have had all of you because you've gotten me through some really hard times. Those of you that are now on this side that are fortunate enough to have that same support from these subscribers, you have no idea how blessed you are. You are beyond blessed. To be angry or annoyed or throw passive aggressive jabs my way because you feel my message isn't the focal point that you want it to be on my channel is a level of petty I don't get behind. This my channel is my channel. I will bring forefront anything I find of relevancy to me. I found it very relevant, and people can say what they want. They can say it was a setup, that I fell into his trap, whatever it may be. If me falling into their trap, morals, integrity, and saying I homophobic slurs, then so be it. I fell into their trap. Label it what you will. I don't care. At the end of the day, this is my channel, and I will always bring forefront what I find to be most important for my message. I will support other people. I will back other people up, but you cannot be angry or annoyed or passive aggressive or anything else because you feel more people are listening to me than you when these people have been here for me when I was also going against you. So that's just a little side note. It's just a little reminder that I appreciate each and every one of you. And also that, my channel is not a mouthpiece for anybody else. So, as some of you know, Natasha has recently exposed a lot of inner doings of what MRB was doing, MERB, better known as. And at one point, Natasha said something that made it feel like she was kind of throwing in that I was part of that. And no, I was not. I actually made the spreadsheet. I was at one point considered a pill popper. Uh, Merb turned around and handed Dorothy videos of me from 2 years ago to go at me with. So I think ultimately what it felt like to her was that I came along and derailed her movement, which is ironic because that's kind of like what, other people are feeling like right now. So I think I threw a big wrench in the big spotlight that she was in, and she didn't like it. So no, I never worked with Marb. I never stood by. Yeah, you know what I mean. I never fell into the line that she had. Um, and for that, I made it onto a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? So don't, if people are trying to insinuate that I was part of Merb, no, I was not. I was never in any of the groups. I was never part of a mass takedown. I was never in any Zoom meetings. I was never in anything to do with any of that. But there are some people that are no longer on this side that were, and that's where the focus should be. So anyway, I am going to bring up a woman that was part of MRB and was led to believe that MRB was in grave danger. I mean, that's what it came down to. I remember when I first started communicating with this person, they were under such a and I don't mean this to insult because it happens to everybody, but such a parasocial relationship that they truly believed that Natasha was out to sincerely hurt MRB. So this person, all their movements going forward came from a great place, a loyal place, a place of genuine concern. It was not to be conniving. It was not to be sneaky. It was not to hurt anybody. It was to protect and help a friend. And this person is a great person to have on your side because she will go to those lengths to make sure that you and your family are okay. So I know MRB likes to switch it around and act like she was all hands clean. And no, she wasn't. She was the ultimate leader that led these people to believe that she was in some type of serious danger. That you're trying to do everything that NC is doing. Oh, really? How am I trying to do everything that NC is doing? That's weird because I actually think this helps her, but sure, okay. So NC's been going live talking about liking, and NC's been doing live streams just talking to her community. No, I don't think so, but that's okay. So anyway, difference of opinions are welcome today. Disrespect is not. It is not. Okay. Do not disrespect my guest. If you have something to say, you have an opinion, do so in a respectful manner. I jumped out of NC's recliner channel. I didn't even know who MRP was, and she made me uncomfortable to even ask, but I found you during that time. Oh, okay. So let me introduce our guest. Hello.
Hi, Jess.
How are you?
I'm okay.
I know. I know this is nerve-wracking, and I know it's been a long time coming.
Exactly. I didn't want to talk about this, but now that being accused of stealing money and the exact truth that's been spread around YouTube as far as the quote unquote PI is absolutely a lie. And that's not the way things happen.
Yes. And let me it's not the way things happen. Let me tell you all something else. I've been speaking to Mimi about this since the summertime. The reason it is now becoming a public matter is because Dorothy held a panel. Not because of Natasha. Dorothy held a panel, and when she had a guest up there that completely switched the truth. So that is why Mimi is using, that with the help of me, this platform today to get her side out. It has nothing to do with Natasha ultimately.
Yeah, it's not about Natasha.
No. I mean, not everything is, folks.
I mean, I do want to talk about the misconceptions that have been said. For instance, some she was being followed, her family was being followed. uh in the legal field, we don't do things like that. We do not. And in fact, I did not involve the law firm I worked for. I hired an independent law firm because that was what my boss told me to do.
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
hire a shoddy PI. That's the misconception. Everything went through a law firm.
And can I ask you, so this is the woman that they are accusing stole money for a PI but didn't hire one. That is not the truth. It is absolutely not the truth. So how did the PI come about to begin with?
Okay, we used to have, when you're a member, you're allowed to join movie nights or nights that were, depositions may be read, books may be read. And it was always in the beginning of these Zooms, you would have to wait forever to even see the movie, because the conversations were always about, quote unquote, her stalkers, people that were bothering her. So it was a conversation amongst many people. Other creators knew about it. And there's just the idea that somebody who works in criminal law would go and hire some shoddy PI that would sit outside anybody's house is completely untrue. The fact that I lived in Florida and I did work in the criminal justice system was the reason that it would have been easier for me to have access to get this investigated, to find out if these claims were true. And I can confirm that nothing that Natasha was accused of turned out to be true.
Right. Okay, so we're going to put it all out there. When she says other creators were involved, she is meaning Dorothy. Dorothy was fully aware and in the conversation about hiring a PI against Natasha. So this stupid act that they have going on over there, where they're just spreading mistruths, is unreal. So the claims. So Caroline, Mimi, can you further explain what you mean by the claims? Because I know, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
If you're talking about the claims of her life being in danger, there was always the discussion of the quote unquote SWAT, alleged pipe bombs, put on her property, threats against the kids, the family. Anybody that would have been in those Zooms would have believed that, yes, her life was in danger. So Natasha never tried to physically harm. I'm sorry about that. To physically harm
That's okay.
anybody. She didn't harm MRB. She didn't have anything to do with that glitter item that was allegedly sent to her. Natasha did not do anything to endanger MRB.
So, because at that point, when they would go into these Zoom meetings, and I know some of you have seen MRB live and how she over exaggerate things, how paranoid she is, and she led these ladies to believe that Natasha had her dog murdered. Natasha had bombs in the pipeline. Natasha had somebody snooping around her property. So these women believed that Carolyn and her family were in actual danger.
Correct.
Yeah, Rosalita, that's exactly right. So, everybody, what happened though was when everything came to the forefront and it was found out that there was this, that, and that, Carolyn acted like she had no idea what was going on and she wasn't part of it. That is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. She knew that these ladies were collecting funds to get a PI and she was part of it.
Absolutely. Did you want to tell my story of how I got involved with the channel?
Yeah, and then do you want should we pull up the receipts to show that you paid her back the money first, or
Yeah, you can choose how you'd like to do it. That's fine. I'm not good at any of this.
okay, you talk while I pull that all up. You can tell your story and how you were a Rambler, what happened while being a Rambler, what happened when you were exiled from the Rambler Club, or when I think you left on your own, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's correct. After I was doxxed.
Yes. Okay. So, because when this all came out about the PI, they immediately blamed you. You got the sole blame for this. I'll never forget. I was sitting on the beach and you called me. You're like, they're blaming me. It's all going on me, but I'm not the only one. It wasn't me. Right. I remember all of that.
Right. So I first started watching MRB before she even did live videos. She was covering the Watts case, and at that time I was sick. But I didn't at first start being in the chats. I didn't subscribe at first. I hadn't had any experience with YouTube. So I subbed to the channel, And it took a long, long time before I even went into a chat. It wasn't until way after a year that I became a member. I started chatting. I was invited on the panel. And even during this time, several people warned me, but I didn't believe what they said. I could, I'd never, it would never enter my mind what danger I was putting myself and my family in. Um, I got a rude awakening after she doxed me. And she also doxed the law firm's private investigator. So that was it for me. Uh, on the Before she doxed me on the 24th, I had gotten rid of my membership. And previously, I had quit the Patreon. And I believe that that live was on July 31st.
But
And I
also,
had, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mimi. I want to remind everybody that prior to you being doxxed, you were severely blackmailed with the idea that they'll dox you. You were demanded to show up on panel. You were demanded to right now. Either you speak or we're going to dox you. As basically what they did, right?
Basically, the words were, because I wasn't even watching that live, was you better call in and come up on the panel or I'm going to expose everything. And in my mind at that
Mhm.
point, the only thing I thought she was going to expose, which I had sent her, were pictures of the injuries that I have. I have a non healing wound. Never would I think that something from back in November of 2021, which turned out to be nothing, was going to be shown. In fact, what was shown had a legal disclaimer on the top, which basically tells you this information is only for you. It is not supposed to be shared. It's privileged and confidential and may involve a legal situation. So that document should never have been shown. It's also not exactly how the original document was, the original email. It also doesn't include any other parts of the thread of that email. I was thrown under the bus. And I have my own suspicions, but no proof why that would have been brought up specifically at that time. So I won't say why I think it was done. I don't think that you creators can see when we cancel a membership or if we canceled our Patreon. I'm not sure how that works. I did nothing but support and care about this woman. I would never have done anything bad to her. So I was in shock when I was thrown under the bus. Not only that, the law firm's investigator, his information was put out. All criminal law firms, they at least professionally know each other. So at this point, this would have created a very big professional problem for me. And it was done on purpose and it was unfair. I got sick
It
from
was done
it.
on
I
purpose. Yeah, it was very much. Mhm.
I had to have therapy.
I'm sorry,
I
I
had
don't
a
mean to
lupus
overspeak you.
flare.
Yep.
I could not do my
At this
job.
point,
I was Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mimi. I'm so
No,
angry for you because I remember the hurt you were going through. I remember you calling me and saying to me, "I can't sleep, I can't eat. They're sending Natasha after me, and it's not even me." And
it
all
was horrible.
these people that I called, and right here on your screen shows back in December of 2021. 2021, Tammy received her funds back. As of what, 3 days ago, she's on a platform saying she hadn't. They're right there, Dorothy. Do a little more research, Dorothy, because you get nothing correct. Absolutely nothing correct. The document that Carolyn pulled up on her screen after demanding that Mimi show up right now and click that link was a document that states clearly that it is confidential and is not for the public eye. But she needed to save her ass and pretend she didn't know that the supporters of her channel, that the women she's in Zoom meetings with, that she had no idea they were hiring a PI. Bullshit, Carolyn. You knew and you incited them to do it. You encouraged it. You manipulated them. You fed off their emotion and concern for you. And you knew throughout the whole thing that a PI was being hired on your behalf. You fucking knew it.
And something else I wanted to add, Just, is lawyers and anybody in the legal field know that nothing, no information would have been given to anybody on YouTube, not Carolyn, the other person, or myself. That's not how it works because it could endanger a person's life. I have no information. The only thing I was told was that MRB's life was not in danger and nothing was going to happen to her. And whatever Natasha Cooper was doing, that would have nothing to, nothing to do with Carolyn at all. Whatever accusations, they weren't going to even get into any of that once they found out that the claims were false.
Well, and not
This
only
is an
that,
end
but
of.
I think people seem to forget two things here. One, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. One thing being, hiring a PI is a professional. They're professional. Okay. It wasn't Tom wasn't hired off the corner to go stalk down Natasha's family and endanger them. It is literally a legal practice. And people need to remember that Natasha turned around and raised a couple $1,000s to hire her own PI. Okay. So this was a tit for tat going on here. But PIs, that's exactly what the PI was hired for, to make sure that Carolyn's life was not in danger. Yes. But these are two people here that were both playing with the emotions of the subscribers, and we need a PI, and they both did the same thing. They both did it. Didn't Tammy say she wasn't part of the PI, if I'm correct? That she only sent money towards it, but she had no further dealings?
Right. And of course, the PI would never speak to her about anything.
But here we have a document signed by Tammy herself, an agreement with PI.
That's
So
actually an agreement with the law firm.
for
So
Tammy to say
I
she
think
had nothing
everybody,
further
I think just that everybody thought
was
that this was just like a
with.
random PI. And in fact, no, it went through a law firm not associated with our law firm. The imagination that there's some person following somebody around and watching the family, that's completely ridiculous, because there's so many databases that they don't even need to leave the office to find information. She didn't pay me, she paid a law firm.
Right. She paid a law firm.
Correct.
She paid towards it. She was aware of it. She signed her signature on it. She knew. So Tammy's sitting over there saying, oh no, Mimi got the money and ran with it, and I had nothing else to do with it, is a lie. It's a lie.
You can't just go around and
Okay, now I
accusing
will let
somebody
you.
of stealing $175 so that they could spend it in the auction, and for that other creator to go along with it and say, oh, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't need her measly $175 to participate in anything. We discuss everything together as a family. Anything we spend, it's always discussed. My husband knew I was in those auctions.
Yeah, so what Mimi's saying there is, while this Tammy was over on Snorthy's platform, Snorthy made the observation that, oh, Mimi used that money to participate in these auctions that Mimi always participated in prior to that, 175. So, what that is called projection, because you, Snorthy, you would take somebody's money and do something like that, but Mimi would not. One's a professional grifter. Okay. That was so stupid. And her like, I don't believe in coincidences. Yeah, neither do we. There's a lot of lies from Tammy, Mike. A lot of lies.
She's been on another panel previously, giving another version of this. And I can't believe that creators would, they know. And I don't know if anybody here remembers the time that she did fly up on your panel and made a scene
Yeah.
about, I just want everybody to know it's not me. And it was kind of out of control. And I think she finally left the panel. I don't know what's wrong with her, but I'm not going to have anybody running around saying that I stole $175. In fact, I happen to live in the only state in the United States where slander and defamation is a felony. It's a felony. So I'm just warning everybody else to stop slandering and defaming my character.
Especially when you know you're lying. Why would you do that?
I mean, if you
You
listen to the
know?
lives,
I mean,
the stories
grow
changes
up.
just a little bit.
And for Dorothy's sake.
Well, I don't think Dorothy ever liked me.
Right.
And I also wanted to say something
Well,
else, Jeff.
what a shame that is.
I wanted to say that
Yeah.
once it was known that I had become a member of your channel, I received a phone call from that creator and her sidekick, basically being drilled about me being a member of your channel. And of course, I never left your channel. I've been a member for over a year of your channel. You know, I just stopped talking as Mimi 100 because that was the legal advice that I was given.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people get drilled about their behavior and going on other channels.
And I want to point messages, Mimi.
I'm sorry, Jess. Say that
Or
again.
do you prefer I not?
I didn't hear your
Can I
question.
talk
I'm
about the
sorry.
messages, or do you prefer I not?
No, I
That's
just want
okay.
to speak out.
Can I
I want to
mention the
speak out.
messages?
Yes, you can
Okay.
mention the messages.
Okay. So this is around Thanksgiving/Christmas. We have, please send me back the 175 because she's withdrawn my account. I need something for E besides the one thing I got him for Christmas. I'm pissed. I'm done with all these communities. Dorothy was behind the whole thing on Thanksgiving Eve where Caroline was so damn rude to me and it made me feel like a piece of shit. And Scooter goes to every damn freaking drama channel. So this Tammy wanted her money back because her feelings were hurt. Okay. Tammy got her money back on December 23rd. Tammy, as of this week, is saying she never received the money back. It is a damn lie. There's 100, there's 50, there's 25. Do the math. That is 175.
Well, when you hire an attorney's office, your retainer is non-refundable, and she wanted the money back. If she would have gone ahead and called that law firm and tried to get that money back, that would have created professional problems for me. That's why I gave it to her, because I don't want anything messing with my job. So she did get the money back.
Right. But technically she signed a contract and she should not have received the money back. Keep that in mind
Correct.
too.
Retainers are non-refundable. So I paid it back
Now, as far
through
as this,
my money. Go ahead.
right, through that auction money, you hear that, Snorthy? Freaking idiot. That is why it personally comes back from Mimi's Cash App to Tammy, because the whole thing was humiliating on Mimi. She's the professional here. She was the mouthpiece. She was the middleman of all of this. And it came down to YouTube drama was led to believe it was more real life and in danger than anybody could have imagined. And then it all got dropped on Mimi's feet. All of it.
And I want to add also that once my email was doxed, I got disgusting emails, my Google Drive, which of course would have documents of our clients, was taken over. I was removed as the owner of my Google Drive. It took, they had to remove Google Drive from all of my devices. It took 2 weeks for our IT person to regain control of my Google Drive. The Google Drive contained confidential information. I had nasty voicemails, texts, emails. I had to purchase different apps and programs to prevent this from coming to our phones, our computers. So it did cost me money. We also increased our security. We had to add more cameras. We do have law enforcement in our family, so we were able to have people drive by and check, because at that point, once I was doxxed, I was scared for my family and I was scared for myself.
Can you imagine? You start off with really good intentions, right? You have this creator who you believe, who you sympathize with, who you believe is in danger for their life. And because you decided to help out that creator, you end up the one in turn frightened for your life. They doxed her to deflect from themselves, is what they did. They threw Mimi out to the wolves and told her to fend for herself, because once she was no longer a rambler, she was being gang stalked by ramblers, she was being harassed and hunted down, and then she has people like Tammy just going around spreading lies about her. Why? What does Tammy get out of that? A few more air minutes on YouTube? What does she get from that?
I don't know what's going on with her. And I know that she adored MRB. She adored her. There was
Yeah.
even a mod, and I won't say the mod's name because that mod's been in your chat before, who said this was done because supposedly I desperately wanted to be liked by MRB or friends with MRB. Um,
Bullshit.
I have a family. I have a lupus group. I have friends from college, from high school. I don't I didn't need to do anything to impress a creator. I have my own life. It was
Right.
completely
What it
unfair.
was you were, yeah, they made you out to be this psychotic attention needing person when that's not at all who or what you are. You were a supportive member of her channel. That's it. You were somebody who believed her hysterics. And we all know Merb is full of hysterics. Yeah, Tammy came up on here acting really weird one time. It was very bizarre behavior.
Yeah, there have been
Yeah, I think
many wonderful people that have been affected. Something happened after the vacation, and people just spread apart, and people were being talked about, and your friendships were being questioned. Like, no, you cannot be friends with this person. If you're friends with this person, you're just as evil as them, and you're not a woman of God. And that's been used on many people. There have been people who have been physically affected, who have been emotionally affected. This all started in May, and we're in 2023. And I know that there are
mhm.
people that they're going through stuff because of this.
And at one point, Mimi was like backdoored because she supported me. So this idea that I was part of Merv's big takedown Natasha Cooper, no, I was not. No, I was not. I was never part of that. You know what, Deputy? I'll tell you. I'll answer that. You know what I personally have witnessed, being an outsider of it all? Merv is jealous of anybody who takes spotlight from her. Merv couldn't stand when I came along because I took away her anti-Natasha content. She couldn't stand when Natasha came around because Natasha took away her Watts, Chris Watts content. I think it all came down to I think Carolyn is a very insecure woman and she rules under a thumb. And if you don't follow her ruling or you get in her way, you get gang stalked. You get put on a spreadsheet where your name is then looked into on Zoom meetings. How many times have you guys heard Kim and Crafton praise MRB of how organized they are? That's why, because they were part of those mass reportings.
Yeah, nobody speaks up
Yep,
about
MRB
her.
is everyone's a mass
Nobody
report.
does.
No, because you get. I remember one time I called her dramatic, and she came in and was like, "So I'm dramatic," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're being a little dramatic over the fact I called you dramatic." Yes. No, dippity do. It was MRB worked together with other creators to get Natasha's channels down. And then I know Kim and Crafton bragged about getting a few down. So it's just a matter of, but they all work together to do so. I was never part of that. Believe it or not, I'm not even a reporter. If I reported people, a lot of these people out here want to have fucking channels. Can you tell us what some of the Zoom meetings were like?
I
What
think
it was like
the
being insider of the Ramblers?
being in a Zoom meeting, there were so many things that were being discussed, and I want to talk about a particular incident that happened with a Zoom meeting. Uh, I was told to call in for a Zoom meeting, and we have the evidence of the Zoom calls. And it was in the evening. I was cooking, I was making spaghetti. And so I was led to believe that it was another Rambler and MRB on the Zoom meeting. And I said, oh, my spaghetti boiled over. Oh my goodness. I'll be right back. I went in the kitchen. I removed the pot from there. I put up another pot, started boiling water. When I came back and I picked up the phone of the Zoom meeting, that I was already in the Zoom meeting, I heard two other Ramblers speaking of me in the most horrible ways. So then I said, who is in this meeting? And I got really upset and I said, I'm not going to take this explicitive. I'm out of there. So the other Rambler that was in that Zoom meeting was then accused of having me listen in on a telephone call to their Zoom. I live in a two-party state. That is illegal. I would never have done that. And that was all. And that Rambler was then bothered and said, and even told, no, we didn't say this to you. That didn't happen. And she suffered greatly health wise, and other things have happened to her. But that's her story to tell. That is not my story to tell.
So basically, you were invited on a Zoom meeting and you walked away for a minute, came back to people speaking ill of you, and then you were accused of spying in on that
Yes.
meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
That the other subscriber who was originally in the Zoom meeting was then accused of using her phone to let me listen to the Zoom meeting. I was already in the meeting.
Right.
And I think this is something that's done all the time, where you may think that there's a certain amount of people in a Zoom, but there are other people in the Zoom. And you know, I know what happened to this other Rambler. She was basically gang attacked in the Zoom meeting, to where, you know, it was not good for her health. And I hope one day she does tell her story, because she suffered a lot physically. I mean, I got a lot of support.
I want to say, because I don't mean it. Oh yeah. One thing I have noticed with Caroline's or MRB or Merv's, whatever, with her following is it is a lot of very kind, naive, quite frankly, older women. A lot of them have found comfort in either the shared loss of a loved one. They enjoy the craft and all that different, the overpriced napkins, whatever it may be. But she takes great advantage of that. She knows what her following is, and she fully takes advantage of that.
Yes, the group had a lot of people who had chronic illness, older people, widows, people that had lost family members, people that didn't have close relationships with their family members. So for most people, that became a pseudo family for them. That was where they went and discussed private things. The only thing I ever discussed was my lupus and the non-healing wound that I had. And the fact is, everybody knows when I have SLE, that's systemic lupus. It affects your entire body. And one of the things that causes you to go into a flare up is stress. And I am sure that the decision to go ahead and do that docs, they knew I was going to be physically affected. If I didn't have support from the law firm, if I didn't have a therapist who decided I needed so much help that she was going to do more than the 52 minutes a month. She was my grief therapist from when my mom passed away. And she spoke to me many, many days. I couldn't sleep. It was a horrific experience that I hope nobody else experiences. And anybody that's still in that group that you think that something like this is not going to happen to you, you're being ignorant. Because if you look at the people, and I'm not going to bring up names because we all know that there's some other legal things going on. Those people were well liked, kind. If things could be told about them that are untrue, and all of a sudden, like the whole group turned against people they knew were good people, do not think that that is not going to happen to you, because it will. It's going to happen.
Yeah. They'll do to you what they've done to others. I think I still have it recorded where she was demanding you take a link or she was going to dox you. That's
Yeah.
how I interpreted that live stream.
I really didn't even think it was going to be anything to do with something from 2021. I would have been embarrassed if she did show the pictures of my injuries, of course. That's what I thought she was going to do.
Yeah. Well, and listen, Rosalita, I agree with you. Natasha would have never lost her channels if she wasn't putting the full blame on MRB, but it is 100% factual that she holds Zoom meetings and tells and gives people different parts of what to do to achieve her mass destruction. The losing of her channels is not solely on MRB, is what I'm saying. But it was in part.
This is just all a mess, and I really wish it would be over. I don't want my name brought up. Uh, I shouldn't be discussed. I have nothing to do with that channel. I gave no information to MRB. In fact, if you look at that email, which we have 3 examples of that email, and everything in that email that was written was publicly known already on Google and had been publicly discussed in Facebook groups. I mean, the idea that investigators actually sleep in their cars and follow people around in 2022, 2023, 2021 is ridiculous. Everything is done through databases and they don't leave their office. I live way deep in South Florida. For that investigator to drive that far is completely unbelievable. It just would not happen. I don't know if somebody else was watching her. What I can tell you is that law firm would never do anything illegal. Nothing. It's just
And
insane.
I just found this recording earlier, so I'm going to play this. So this was back when Dorothy was part of it, and you'll see how Dorothy operates right here. Give me 1 second. Let me mute you for a second, Mimi. All right, ready?
To see the glare gone because he's been quite abusive on this platform.
Yeah, I can't say I've watched him in.
Oh, he's a Save Robbie fan. They're besties.
No, I heard they're not anymore because they had a big
That's what
fallout.
they do. Yeah. Same thing that Robbie does with Natasha. They're good one day, bad the next day. Same thing with the glare. I think they are on the out at this very moment. But you know, be careful, Glaber has a second channel and it just hit over 1,000 subs. But if enough people report that one and it's under his name, they'll take it quickly.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened there is Dorothy's mentioning what they do in the background up front. So you hear Carolyn like, "Oh, no, I don't know," because she does know. She's fully aware, but Dorothy's not supposed to say that up front because Dorothy is the idiot here. Just like she just said, "Oh, the Glare and Robbie are best friends," and MRB's like, "No, they're not." So here, let's go continue with it.
Well, it's a good sign just to see that they are.
Yeah, it's that they're bullying and harassment is ridiculous, and I mean that's all she does on her channel every day, every day.
Yeah, well, it's her content, and then she wants to say channels got built off of me, blah blah blah. Maybe that's true somehow, but you're no different, Natasha. You've built your channel by berating and abusing people, and some sick to see the glare gone because.
So isn't that ironic to hear Dorothy say that all Natasha, but because Dorothy was part of it all. And Daisy Duke, you're correct. Thank you, Pastor Mill. Daisy Duke said, I witnessed NC harass MRB for months, multiple times a day, playing her content. MRB said nothing back. Well, that's not true. Not once. That's not true either. NC then played Robbie's video about MRB's deceased son. That's when MRB fought back. That the timeline's quite off there. MRB was fighting back. That video was horrific, and I don't think it should. I think she should stop using that altogether. But the timeline's a little different there. So that's what Dorothy does, though. She just spreads, mistruths. How to know, etc. Link contents MRB harassment daily. Well, you know what, Daisy Duke? She lost her strong arm army, though. All the people that were diehards for her have figured her out and walked away. So I'm not sure she has the power she once had.
People that don't like animals usually, she didn't like any animals. And she said the reason she doesn't like animals, now listen to this, is because she had a dog when she was little. Did she ever say the age, Dorothy, she was?
No, she
rode her bike all day long.
Yes, she rode her bike all day long and the dog followed her. And it was just the greatest dog in the world. And the dog loved her like crazy. And she didn't say she loved that dog. She said that dog loved her like crazy.
Did she?
I don't think she said she loved that dog. She said that dog loved her like crazy.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she wasn't like gushing over the dog. And then she said, and one day, now this is I've never heard anybody say this. One day they paved the roads in the neighborhood and they paved the dog. Who would say they paved the dog? You would say,
yeah, but she said the dog was following her on her bike because the dog loved her so much. And he got paved into the road.
Right, but wouldn't you say the dog got run over? Would you say the dog got paved into the road?
That's a metaphor how she treats everybody. That's how she looks at everything. Oh, they love me, but I don't care about them.
True.
I don't think she knows what love is.
So anyway, I recorded that one just to show that Dorothy and Doug were a part of a lot of that. So as Dorothy says over there acting like she had no involvement, it's not true. She had a lot of involvement. NC is a bitch. Listen, I'm not here to argue otherwise. NC is a bitch, but today is about MRB and her inner workings. I have plenty of Natasha Cooper content. I can refresh all this on Natasha's part of it, but today is simply about MRB. But I will never forget what Natasha has done. Hell, look at what she's done to me. Do I think that MRB had a right to dig into Natasha's family tree and look into every aspect of Natasha's life? No, it's fucking YouTube.
Just, I wanted to add one thing that yes, Doug was a part of that channel, but he was treated very badly by specific people in that channel. And they basically got rid of him. He was treated very badly in the chats.
Oh, I believe that. People couldn't stand him. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a specific thing about, it seemed to me like almost like anytime a male would come into the community, they were just gotten rid of. And I won't say their scream names, but several men, they were picked on, accused of things, and it just wasn't true. There's only a few men that stayed. And Doug doesn't want to deal with drama on YouTube. He's done. He's done. But I do know that there was a purpose attack on him in that group. I don't know who started it, but he was treated badly, made to feel unwelcome. I think he ended up one night being on a panel where the creator wasn't even on the panel. He just was having a discussion with another sub on the panel. But he didn't do any type of bad things for MRB. He basically was forced out of that channel.
Right. For those who think I'm like getting this confused, I'm defending Natasha. So I found an old arsenal with a bunch of stuff, and here's one of them. Okay, I'm no fucking newbie to what Natasha Cooper is, right?
Get you going, whatever your name is. Got one over by a reindeer. I wish. I'm gonna issue this challenge again. Let's see what excuse you come up with this time.
So
Don't talk about me.
I am fully aware of who Natasha Cooper is and what she is. I am not defending Natasha. I will always defend the fact that YouTube drama does not give somebody the right to invade somebody's personal life, period. There was no reason MRB needs to know where Natasha's kids worked and where their partners worked and where their none of that. There's no need for any of that. Fight YouTube with YouTube. Stop going after people's lives. There was no reason to dox Mimi. There was no reason to dox Natasha's family. There's no reason at all, period. Like the bitch or not. That's the way it is. Keep YouTube to YouTube.
People that don't know.
But yeah, so.
Before that happened.
And that's just to prove a point that.
I made a birthday challenge. Yeah, I did.
Before that happened.
And I also noticed during some of Natasha's things, she was saying she was swatted twice. Natasha was never swatted. She was never swatted. She had a wellness check done and a knock on the door. It was not a swat. Okay. But MRB's swat was not because of Natasha either. They were two different timelines. Yeah, I don't know why there has to be this narrative of like, oh, well, if you're saying MRB's horrible, then Natasha's not. It's the same thing that happens with Lysol and Tiff. They can both be pieces of shit, guys. Come on. I'm not taking away anything that Natasha has done. I am simply saying that MRB does go to extreme lengths to push a narrative, ones that nobody should.
Did anybody have any questions?
He wasn't in danger. We don't know, in my opinion. Enchanted, with that logic, though, everybody has some pretty crazy obsessed subs. So any creator is in any sort of danger at any given moment. That's all. Yeah, is there any questions towards Mimi? Was way before NC. She was being trolled on her panels when she would have a panel with Link. Right, there's plenty of evil to go around. Amen, Julie. How you doing today? Yeah, we're not pro grainy over here. Yeah, I think so too. All right, hold on. While we wait for questions to come in, I'm gonna play you all this little tune.
Stuck in a ditch way out in the middle of nowhere. Get yourself in a pile as a shirt off your back. Need a floor, need a couch, need a bus fare.
Does anybody remember that when Robbie wrote an ode to Natasha? So Burnt Popcorn wants to know, how are you doing currently?
After this whole thing happened on Dorothy's panel, it did affect me. And, no sleeping. I cried for a little bit because I couldn't believe this still was going on. And really, I want it to be over. I have nothing to do with that channel. I did have friends in the channel that I would never be able to speak again because we only communicated through the Slack. Like some of the people in the UK, very nice people. So, yes, I missed some of the friendships in there, but I also have mistrust. I don't know who to trust. I don't know people that have said that they've left, if they really left, and more people are going to get hurt. Like, do your own investigation about, you can go back and you can look and you can see in 2019 this was said, but in 2020 something else was said. It was changed a little bit. I really cared about MRB. I worried about her and her family. Many, many times I told her to get an attorney. Many times. And if there's anybody here that was in Slack at that time, they know that I did that. They know I mentioned many times that she needed to get an attorney. But I mean, anybody knows that when you do take something to court, it's not just your side that's coming out. Everything is coming out in court.
Yeah. She's threatened court on a lot of people over a lot of years.
Well,
Does
it's also
anybody
illegal to make those threats, Jess. You can't go around threatening that you're going to sue and not sue. That's considered a threat. And every state has different laws. And I'm just lucky that I do live in a state where it is a felony to slander and defame another person. And I work with a large group of attorneys, and I have professional relationships in many parts of the criminal court system. It would really not be smart for anybody to continue to defame me, because Florida is
because it's
harsh.
illegal. Speaking of defamation,
It's
does
illegal.
anybody remember when MRB posted the wrong docs of Jax? Does anybody recall that?
I remember when that happened.
Yeah. So MRB received an email that supposedly gave the identity of Jax, Lindsay's friend Jax. That email came from Kim and Crafton. That email pertains information that was not Jax. This is the aftermath of that. Mind you, I found it on old arsenal, so I'm going to throw them all out there.
Text you, but I figured since I'm listening, I would just call in and get a quick rundown of what I've kind of missed the last couple of however long. What's going on with Jax?
Somebody was trying to break in his house.
Did he see somebody out in the yard, or it was his dogs?
His dogs were going crazy, and then somebody tried to open his door, like get in his door, and they pried it with a pry bar.
What?
Yep.
Wow. Well, as far as that goes, I want to tell you, I'll text you what it's actually really good and very helpful. But I won't say it on here. But yeah, I just wanted to get an update real fast to see what's going on to make sure Jax was okay. Because at first I thought he got hurt, and then I was trying to listen, and so he's going to
somebody
work.
was trying to break into his house.
So anyway, I play that because yes, I still call bullshit on that. And she did later say, Natasha did later retract that and say it didn't happen. All right. So Justina says, really good to see you, Mimi. Hope you're well. I try to keep to myself. Sad how this YouTube world turns. Amen, Justina. Fancy Jane says, I have a random question. How many of you think it was okay for NC to announce that the cause of MRB's son's death on our channel? I didn't find that to be okay at all. What I will say, for me personally, and Mimi can answer afterwards, and those in the chat can throw in their commentary on that. As fucked up as I found that to be, absolutely despicable, I do find the irony and MRB calling me a pill popper really fresh, right? Because it was oftentimes that MRB would use my prior addiction and my recovery against me and little jabs, and that being one of them. I don't think there is any shame in having an addiction. I don't think there is any shame in being in recovery. And I certainly don't think there is any shame in dying from addiction. Shame on anybody who finds embarrassment by that. Who's defending NC? You people are so fucking one-sided. It's unbelievable. Who here has defended NC at any point? Who? Because I'm saying what a piece of shit MRB is, that means I'm defending NC? You can't realize both people can be disgusting? I'll have a stream on NC, but this ain't it. This is about MRB right now, not Natasha. And believe it or not, guys, just because somebody's a piece of shit doesn't mean they deserve everything that has taken place. Okay? Okay. Let's just get that understood.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've held in my story for a long time for legal reasons, and we're not going after MRB in any civil court. So now I can speak, but I can tell you that as a resident of Florida, I have a lot more protection. So it depends on what's done. It will end up in criminal court, and I don't have to pay the prosecutor to do anything. The prosecution works for victims. And I wish everybody could just be released from this. It's been going on since May of last year, right after the vacation. And it should be over with. Nobody should be talking about it. You know, I've shown the receipt, and I think you even have a text where somebody says clearly that she knew. And I mean, I sent you a copy of that text. So she did know. I mean, I don't know if you want to read that text, but it's probably amongst all the other texts. Can you hear me, Jess?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Yes, I hear you. The
Okay.
text where she's admitting that you didn't do anything?
The text where it says that it's from that person, and the text basically says her name, that she spoke with him, and then there's the follow-up text where she says, why does she have to be involved in anything? We should take care of this. She already gave all her information. I sent you the text, but I didn't
Okay,
send them
let
in
me
order.
thank you, Julie, and thank you. I'm going to say X because it says a name, and I don't know the subscriber's name. So, okay. Are these the ones I just received an email for Surviving Storm? That one, I definitely didn't go up there to upset
It's
you.
the one
Hold on,
that
I might have
starts out with the text start out with the creator's first name, and it's in caps.
Okay. Let me go to that. With Carolyn, okay. Caroline just talked to PI. Send what she has to him right now. Everything I sent is on her private community page. So, all right. So MRB had a private community page where, you know, if you were a Rambler, you had access to this private, and this is where they would gather all their information. And this is a text from Tammy saying Carolyn just spoke. So MRB absolutely did have conversation with the PI that she claims she had no idea about. Is that what you wanted me to show?
Yeah. And there's another one also where she says, we should be handling it. At this point, I believe she was angry because she was treated badly. There's a text there that says something to the effect like, the PI should be talking to us, not her.
Yeah. So it says, so tell the PI not to talk to her or I want my money back. We can do this on our own. Sherry gave him what he needs. I'm dead serious. He should be in communication with me and not and you, not her. I sat. Oh, that's all I have on that. So
Yeah, they're split up.
Message from Tammy saying, why is the PI talking to just Karen? He needs to speak to me and you. Thank you, Iva. Yeah. So, and then we have, is that part of the Dorothy thing? Dorothy was behind the whole Thanksgiving?
I didn't really understand what she was talking about with that, because at one point I did go up on the panel to set the record straight about what was happening with you. And I think that was the point where Dorothy probably didn't like me or stopped liking me. Who knows if she ever liked me. The reason that I wanted to come up here is because, number one, I would never steal anybody's money. I didn't steal $175. My life was affected because I was ever a part of that group. It was a shock to me when I saw that I not only was I doxxed, but the law firm's investigator was also doxxed. And that's an ex-law enforcement, highly decorated, well-respected man. You know, like, these people, these professionals cannot even believe that things like this happen on YouTube. To them, it's crazy. And in fact, I can tell you, for the amount of money paid, the most work that was done was about 72 hours of work. Nobody ever sat outside Natasha's house. I don't know who was sitting outside Natasha's house. I don't know who was following her family, but that's just not the way lawyers work. And in fact, that file was closed and never mentioned. I received no documentation, no information. I was only told there's no evidence that Natasha Cooper ever intended to or harmed her or had anything to do with the pipe bombs. The SWAT had nothing to do with Natasha. Natasha wasn't even on, and I'm not defending Natasha. These are facts. Natasha was not on YouTube at the time of the quote unquote SWAT. And that's what I'll call it, is a quote unquote SWAT. I just need to make sure that nobody would believe that I was out to get Natasha, which has been suggested before, that I personally had just this horrific hatred towards Natasha, that it was my idea to go after Natasha. No, there were many Zooms that discussed quote unquote stalkers, those people trying to take my channel down. I mean, those Zooms, it would always be like, oh, it's a movie night, or we're going to read about this. But no, many things happen in those Zooms. I remember a British lady being called out in one of the Zooms to where she left crying. And her name was also brought up on that live with Dorothy. Her name was mentioned. The woman has nothing to do with anything. She's left YouTube and she's being falsely accused. Apparently, they're accusing her of sending the Jax file to Carolyn. How would that woman in another country get that file? That's just not
Well, that's
true about
because
her.
right. And they need a way to blame everybody instead of just owning their involvement, which is what you're doing here today. Yes, Mimi was involved, but Mimi was emotionally manipulated to believe that somebody in their family was in danger. You know how many times MRB would come on there and say, "Oh, they're going after my son. They're going after my boys. They're and the dog." Does she not accuse somebody of murdering her dog?
Yes.
I mean, the whole thing was crazy. But this idea that it was solely Mimi is just not true.
And I'm sure that members of that community are listening right now. You guys all know how much I cared about Carolyn. I never did anything badly to Carolyn. I was always nice to all of you. And the one thing I can tell you is if you think that it's good for you to remain in that community, you are so wrong. I never thought I would end up being doxxed, thrown under the bus, and all the things that had to happen after that happened. I mean, it cost us a lot of money to put up all the extra cameras, and I couldn't sleep. I got physically ill. I had therapy that my therapist knew how badly it was affecting me. I was nauseous. I was throwing up. I couldn't eat food. I was throwing up just liquid because I had no food in my body. It was a horrific experience. And if any of you guys that are still there have this crazy idea that it cannot happen to you, I'm telling you that you are wrong. You're wrong. You'll make that one misstep, or you'll be seen in another channel, or maybe not agree, or try to speak your mind. You all have to be very careful because you're involved in a community that is filled with manipulation. There are people who know what type of people to manipulate, empathetic people, people that are lonely. If you would look at the whole group, and I would never mention anybody's problems that are in that group, most people in that group, they need to belong to that group. Those people, they consider everybody there their friends. There were
Right.
many people that became friends off of the channel that would talk about crafts, or they weren't talking about the channel, they just became friends because you could speak to other people using Slack. You didn't have to show your actual phone number. You could have Slack conversations with other people. But in the end, nobody that's there right now, I believe, stuck up for me. There are other ladies that they knew the truth, and because of the situation they're in, they're not going to discuss what's happening to me, what happened. And, you know, really, I wish I could just write a book about this, because I am a
Right.
writer. I can write. I am not a stupid person. I've never been tricked by anybody before in my life. I've dealt with a narcissist before, a very good friend. I did not see the signs. All I saw was this poor mom who cooked and baked and crafted and was a victim. I saw her as a victim. And
Right. And it's not to say she wasn't a victim, because yeah, there were some things that went too far, absolutely. But things that required a PI, things that she blamed on her, you know, her ramblers instead of taking accountability for. No, none of that. And Enchanted. All right, so yes, Rosebud, you can answer the question. And then Enchanted, how do you know NC didn't send Peen Bomb? Here's the thing. Who the fuck cares about a glitter peen bomb? Carolyn acted like it was good. Glitter. Have a good laugh. Loosen up. Open up the glitter bomb. Boom. You got, you know, it's glitter everywhere. It wasn't a bomb. She made it like that the next thing in the mail is going to be a bomb and I'm going to die. It was a freaking penis. For goodness sake.
how does she know what was inside of it? Because it wasn't opened.
Yeah, there's a really good question. How did she know what was inside it if she didn't open it? Did she send it to herself? Like the robot calls she would get that were very clearly her? Because most
Yeah.
normal people don't speak the way she does. Arse.
That, yeah. Sadly, those calls are made to implicate another victim who's been victimized for over 4 years. I can't say the name, but what was done to that woman was absolutely wicked. And to think that someone would want to destroy another human being's life. And I didn't know about that person while I was a part of the group, because there were times that I wasn't participating because of things that were going on in my life. I personally, during the entire time that I was a part of the group, I didn't notice specific attacks against this one person. I did see one email that was read with an accusation, but I didn't come to realize until recently what was done to that person. And that's completely cruel, and I hope that she's been, you know, she gets vindicated one day. I mean, she's been hurt. I can't imagine somebody, look what's happened to me just from being doxxed and people not supporting me who I thought were my friends. But imagine having 4 years of your life being a target and being accused of all of these things. How someone, what would that do to somebody physically and emotionally? That's just clearly wickedness. Wickedness.
And it's all from YouTube. It's all from YouTube stuff. That's it. Like we're not talking about you know, a blowing up glitter bomb. We're talking it blew up glitter. It didn't blow up fire sparks. We're not talking about, I mean, the dramatics that she led people to believe have now resulted in these people actually having these things happen to them. That's the part that is a problem. If you'd like to send a glitter bomb, you can send it to my P.O. box. I will not cry. She is literally evil. I mean, you know, Carolyn's from this calls no police reports. Right. Why didn't she call the police? Now, listen, this is a woman that once calling the FBI over a glitter bomb, but she gets phone calls speaking like that and she just rolls her eyes. I mean, come on. There's no doubt in my mind that there are certain creators that will go to any length to make themselves a victim. Period.
It's just too bad because a lot of those people really felt that that was a community, and they did develop friendships with other people. And I don't know why anybody's still a part of that group, because they all know me. They all know me. People that are there know me. And there was even a rumor started that I was going to take her channel down. I'm a sub. Why would I want to take her channel down? That's ridiculous. None of these people who have been accused of trying to take her channel down care about her channel. They don't want to run her channel. They don't want to take her channel down. That's ridiculous. It's just too many people have been hurt, and it was unnecessary. Unnecessary. But we did, the other friend that I have, we were counting down the days, because what, when you put a membership, you're in there until a certain amount of time. And I kept on marking off the days of my calendar until I would no longer be considered a member of that channel. I wanted nothing to do with the channel. I just feel bad that there are people that I was communicating with that I can't communicate with anymore, because stupidly I did join that Slack, and people are made to believe that you are special if you're accepted into that Slack, and you have to give information to be able to join. You have to give like a social media. So right there's gathering of information. And I do want to say something about the spreadsheets. There is a minor on those spreadsheets. And we all know who that minor is. That's that minor that the creators are not allowing on their channel. Why is a minor on that spreadsheet? She's on that spreadsheet.
She absolutely should not be. Why is there a spreadsheet in general? Why do you need a spreadsheet? Hey, Daisy, you must have not only missed part of the conversation, but you fabricated one in your head, because at no part throughout this entire thing was it ever even so much as suggested that she swatted herself. Okay, never. So, yeah, I don't know if maybe you need to rewind, or if you are, I know your line Kool-Aid is thick, but try to listen to what we're saying here. There are certain things that do not make sense. You don't call the police over a glitter penis bomb, but not over threats of SA towards your minor children, and carry on decoupaging fucking seashells. Okay? You would do a little more about it. That's it. MRB did know about the PI. Yes, she absolutely did. We have shown proof that she knew. She was fully aware. I don't think for 1 minute she swatted herself, but I'll tell you what, the swat took place well before Natasha. That's all. So she can't say Natasha swatted her, just like Natasha can't claim she was swatted twice, because she wasn't. A knock on your door is not a swat.
Yeah, SWAT, usually your house gets damaged. They use non-lethal devices, concussion bombs, smoke bomb, anything to distract. So when you get swatted, because I have clients that have been swatted, your house is basically destroyed. The doors, all your drawers are pulled out. Everything is searched when you get swatted. And people are detained because sometimes family members interfere. If their loved one is the quote unquote suspect, they will make everybody sit together. And even times they will use the plastic hand ties, and they keep everybody together in a section until the home is secured and the suspect's taken away. So I don't know. I don't know what that whole SWAT thing was about. But I do know that I have seen real SWATs. I have clients that have been victims of SWATs. And there's different types of SWATs. There's SWATs for drugs.
That's what I was about to say. It depends on what they're sent in for. There is different types. I personally believe MRB was swatted. Yes, I believe that. I just don't believe by who she believes. MRB says she called the police and FBI multiple times about those phone calls. Let me ask you a question, Daisy Duke. Why would you continue to answer those phone calls?
I would change my phone number immediately.
The line, and then it's a robot voice. Right. Yeah, no, instead she continued to take those phone calls live. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Rosebud asked a question that said, did Mimi get the PI? I just want to make it clear to everybody. I hired a law firm. I did everything legally. I would never look through, we don't even have the yellow pages anymore. I wouldn't Google PI. I went straight to my boss. the beginning that the entire conversation of anything like that came up. And I was advised, you need to go to an independent law firm. And that's what I did.
Right, on behalf of them, not just solo.
Right.
You didn't operate this alone.
No. And
Hey,
there were
Brian.
many people that knew about this. The whole idea that it was just me and only Tammy. No. Many people knew about this. It was discussed in Zooms. I wasn't thinking I needed to write down the day of Zooms because the Zooms conversations would vary. I mean, they talked about a lot of things, but I think it was mainly just to convince the community that she's a victim. And I mean, there are people that in their minds they do think they're victims. There's I forget what it's called when people, there's actually a name for that, when people think that they're a victim of things. But I think this is about YouTube. I think this is about views. And I think this has a lot to do with hatred and jealousy. From what I saw happen to that other creator, that's pure hatred and jealousy. I don't know how she met that, but she didn't deserve to suffer 40 years of her life, the destruction that's happened to her. And I hope that it does get worked out legally. There are a lot of people that could have legal claims. I don't know anything personally about any litigation that's going on, but I do know that there litigation exists. I just don't know any details about things like that. I just wanted to stop. I don't want anybody to think I stole anything. I don't want anybody to think I did anything in malice, that I was targeting Natasha Cooper. Why do I care about whatever Natasha Cooper supposedly did or did? I wasn't even brought to the attention of Natasha. I didn't even know who Natasha Cooper was until one night she came on a panel, and we were already like made to believe that this was this horrible person who was attacking the Rucheks. And in fact, I was actually quite rude to Natasha Cooper because at that point I didn't know the real story, and I shouldn't have been that rude to her. I shouldn't. I mean, many creators are up to whatever they're up to. It's all about for a lot of these people, they just have these specific people they want to target. They're always going to hate that person. It's always going to be tit for tat between them. But once you cross the line of where people are getting sick, where people's health are affected, where they need to get therapy, where if suddenly they're sick, suddenly, and the story goes on of, there were some ramblers that were very sick, who were exiled from the community, who were talked about. And I can't say the name, but they're seriously ill. That person didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves any of this. If anybody doesn't want to be a part of your channel, let them go. Don't use anybody to try to defend things that you did, that you did, that you were a part of. So what? It was already known those two women did not like each other. Who knows what they've done to each other? I just don't want to be talked about.
That
I have
is
nothing to do with the channel.
Right. That is a major problem, and is also a huge misconception on here. A lot of people say things like, "Oh, if you leave Brainy's chat, you're going to be bubble." That's not true. I've never, unless I had to defend a false narrative, have I ever even. I mean, I might ask a subscriber, "Hey, what are you okay? Like, I haven't seen you around," but I'm not chasing people down. I'm not using their personal information. I don't have secret groups where we're going after people, but unfortunately, there are creators that do. And Blossom, I agree with you. And for the 1,000th time, I will have an NC live another time, but this one is solely on MRB. They are both cult runners, if you ask me. They both do the same type of things. Carolyn left a long time ago. She left quietly and peacefully. She even changed her name to try to escape the gang stalking that was taking place. And because Dorothy has no other goddamn content, she has to go ahead and keep replaying this and playing this, but off of false narrative. She has nothing correct. It is a problem.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
the idea, and if you think about now in these times, $175. Um, I always participated in those auctions. I would tell my husband, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna spend like $30," but I was particularly interested in turquoise jewelry and stones, and I also collect. We have a collection of Barbies that are like from the 50s and the 60s, and we did find some of those on the auction. So the idea that I was under control from my husband and that's why I needed to steal that $175 is completely ridiculous, because in my family all of our incomes combined together. I'm not, I wasn't in ever like saying, oh, I have to steal this $175 because I want to buy all this stuff. I don't think I've ever gotten to the point where I ever spent $100 at one time in that auction. Never. It's ridiculous. I would look for quality pieces. And I particularly only bought from like one of the ladies at auction because she actually knew what things were. She knew like what real Fenton glass was. She knew what turquoise was. She wasn't just selling like old McDonald's toys and stuff that's going on now in those auctions. And vintage, when you use the word vintage, you have to be very careful if that's what you're titling what you're auctioning as vintage. And if anybody's ever watched those auctions, you can see the behavior of a certain person when their stuff didn't sell. It is a bad experience, and I learned my lesson. I support Just. I've always supported Just. I never canceled my membership. I just was told by the attorneys you cannot use your Mimi 100 in that part of YouTube. But my bosses get paid anywhere from $450 to over $600 and something an hour. If they were going to continue to try to do anything civil, it would be a detriment to the law firm. Why would we do that if it's possible that there could be criminal charges filed? We would just let the prosecution take over and file what they needed to do. And I'm not holding my breath waiting on that retraction, because I got emails saying it was going to be done and it was never done. And that's why I had to come out here and come on a panel and just let everybody know what happened and understand that a lot of these people that did join that group, they stayed for friendships, and a lot of people are empathetic, and it would not be unbelievable that they completely believed what they were being told, because I believed what I was being told. I'm not stupid. I work with criminals every day on criminal cases, and it's a joke in the law firm. Mimi, you talk to them first and see what you think about that person. And I never picked up on anything. Now when I look back at the videos and some of the things that I know about when people are lying about body movements and eye movements, I think to myself, God, I was so stupid. How did I not catch that? How did I not catch that? It's crazy. And I'm sure that you guys are listening to me. I'm sure, because you saw the thumbnail, the title, that I was going to be here. And a lot of you guys, I was friends with you. And all I can tell you, what happened to me, you don't want that to happen to you. It will intercede in your personal life in a horrible, negative way. And my illness, that you guys all knew I had it, does get affected by stress. I did get sick. There was times that I could not work, where I was in bed, unable to eat, sick, just because of what happened on a YouTube channel. It really is
Well,
mind-blowing.
it doesn't make you dumb. It happens in a lot of situations, especially a lot on YouTube. You see people participating in behaviors they normally wanted, or accepted things they normally wanted, or being, talked down to and belittled in a way they would never allow in their real life. And it's actually sad. It's sad that creators are aware that they have that type of power and they use it for not good stuff.
It was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe that was
You
happening
just
to
happen to
me.
have a big heart.
couldn't believe it
Yeah.
because, you know,
Yeah, I
in
remember how hard
fact,
it was, and it's still hard.
I was defending her the day up to the day before I doxed, and actually one of your I'm not gonna say the name, but one of your mods would point out to me, and I would actually say back to the mod, like, no, you don't know the family, that's not true. And he was right this entire time. He was right, and I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he knows who he is by me just mentioning, because I did say to him in another live, at so and so, you were right. I just didn't see it.
Well, and I remember, you used to get upset with me because you cared that much about MRB, and you would say, "I'm not gonna be in there while you're saying this," and I get it, and we've actually had phone calls where I would say to you, like, "Well, Mimi, do you really not see that for what it is?" And I would try to, help you understand, but you have such a big heart, and you did genuinely care about her. You believed her so much so that I was like, "Hello, wake up." And I think the fact that despite how much you stood by her, that she turned around and just threw you the way she did to take all the heat and target off of herself is very telling. And I'm sorry that you've experienced that. That was horrible.
It was a lesson learned, and I had no intention of ever talking about this until I got accused of stealing money. And the entire whatever imagination that these people were having about the I wanted everybody to know that that's not the way it worked. Nobody ever followed anybody. Nobody's that was just when you're dealing lawyers, the most valuable thing to them is their Florida bar license or their Georgia bar license or Alabama bar license. They're not breaking the rules. They would have broken the rules if they gave me MRB or any other YouTube account holder any personal information about Natasha. Legally, they cannot do that. They could not do
So
that.
let me ask you a question. Were they looking into Natasha to see if she was a viable threat to MRB, or what was the whole ideal
In
behind
in
even
the
hiring?
original in the original email, when the law firm, I had to speak to the PI after I was speaking with the paralegals and the lawyers, and basically I said, this, like, there was a SWAT, the bombs, she's been accused of this, and everything that I told the PI was already public information. So it did include all the accusations against Natasha, but basically my main concern was something going to happen to Carolyn and her family? What was going to happen to her? Was this woman going to continue to do this? You know, what could be done to
Right.
make sure? And then, the
Um,
PI got a hint from the very beginning that something wasn't right. He knew something wasn't right. And that file was closed within 3 days.
because the information I was given was under false pretenses. So you all believed it because you all lived it. She knew
Right.
different. The PI was able to see it from a clear perspective and said, "Yeah, no, this doesn't make sense," which makes a lot of sense. Were you involved, or do you have any awareness on uh the digging into like Natasha and other creators' families and real lives the way they did?
No, I do not.
Like, all right, well, let me take Natasha out of it. Let me ask from this perspective. Carolyn has me on a spreadsheet. I've heard her publicly make remarks about me, and I saw that she is the one that sent Dorothy this video that Dorothy weaponized against me during her 48-hour reign on me, that accused me of bashing Shanann Watts. Now, in the video, I did not bash Shanann Watts, but I did see that it was sent from Caroline on Facebook to Dorothy.
I'm
Is it
sure
normal that she would
I
have
saw
these?
that.
Yeah. Is it normal that she would have that type of stuff against creators? Like, do you know of anything
I
further
knew
about
I
that?
knew there was a spreadsheet. I didn't know what information was contained on the spreadsheet. In fact, the page that we have, we're concerned because there's a minor on that spreadsheet. I saw your name. I saw many other people's names, but I don't know how she's using the spreadsheets. What she has on these spreadsheets, you can even add links on a spreadsheet, addresses, anything. So I don't know how big, what the number of people are that are on the spreadsheets. I don't know what she was using that information for. I don't know.
There
I'm
was
sure
a
I'm on the spreadsheet, and I'm sure I was on the spreadsheet when
lot
I
of
was a
threats.
member.
Oh, I have another question. Is it true? Or all right, so I know it started off as good intent, right? If one of us were to get hurt, we would know who to contact. Is it true that people ended up giving up their addresses, um, immediate contact in case something happens, like those type of things?
One night there was a rambler who was having a crisis, and it was a serious crisis, and we just said that, maybe it's a good idea if we had some way to connect to a family member. This is all innocent people thinking that, of course, like if something was happening to this woman at this point, there was nobody that we could call. We didn't know where she lived, and in the end, it turned out that that was a fake crisis. So no, there wasn't a list made of everybody's name, phone numbers, family members, but information was gathered. When you wanted to be in the Slack, you had to produce information. In the beginning of the auctions, you also had to I think it was a social media where they can confirm your full name and your address. So information was collected in different ways, but there wasn't any. I've never seen a list of all the members' names with their phone numbers.
Did you say that the medical emergency that led to that was a fake crisis?
Yeah, the lady that did it, she was faking.
Do you believe that that was a setup with MRB to initiate to get everybody's addresses and phone numbers and full names, or do you believe that woman just acted alone?
I think the woman acted alone.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second, Justin.
Sure. I'm trying to think of what else we got.
On a Zoom, you have to wait a minute.
Hey, ODN. A fake crisis, Amy. Yeah. A
Okay,
fake crisis.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I forgot to put a sticker on my craft room door. So I don't have any proof. I think the lady herself made up. I think it was her. I don't believe MRB had anything to do with that. It was just the way it played out that you could tell everything was fake. And that was the only time the idea of getting people's information for emergency contacts was ever brought up. And I don't have any knowledge that that list was ever made up.
Okay.
But
I'm trying
people
to
did
think of what
become
else.
friends and exchange phone numbers.
Right. Well, and that's so a lot of things other people don't realize is there are times where people will stay within a community, despite knowing that the creator's doing wrong or that they're uncomfortable, whatever, because they simply don't want to lose the friendships that they've made. And I think that a lot of people stay, particularly around there, for that reason.
I personally joined that community during
Particularly
the time when I couldn't sleep, when I was very sick, and she would be on at these strange hours of night, and eventually I ended up just starting chatting, and I regret ever chatting in that community, ever subbing, ever becoming a member. All anytime I spoke with anybody in Slack, because Slack has this thing where you could DM each other.
hmm
And now I don't believe that. It is my opinion that those DMs were not as private as we thought they were. Because you
Right, of
could
course
talk if you met somebody in there, and they would say like, "Oh, would this happen with my son?" And they're DMing with you, and they think, "Oh, this DM is just between me and Mimi." I no longer believe that those DMs were private. Don't
Yeah, I
have
don't
any
believe they
proof.
were either.
I don't believe they were. And why not use a Discord? Why use something that's for a workspace? Slack is a workspace company. That's what it's used for.
Hmm.
So that was just odd that Discord wasn't chosen.
Right. Why would it be that? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Um,
I thought it was that I was special because I was allowed in the Slack.
well,
I was
that was
allowed.
okay. That's exactly what I was going to get into next. So was there a certain amount of money you had to pay to be part of the Slack?
No. It was
No.
not a financial thing. It was whether or not she trusted you enough to let to let you in the Slack, and then you would provide a social media
Often
account.
heard
Yeah. It
me
wasn't
say,
about anybody giving her money to get into the Slack. No, that's not true.
okay. So you guys have often heard me say that there are people that will they'll throw wrenches, right? You'll see majority of their chat room is a wrench. They do that to give you a sense of importance so that you stick around them. It is a tactic that a lot of people use, a lot of creators use. They also do this us versus them thing, right? So what Caroline did was it was an us versus them, and you were made to feel special by being allowed in the Slack. You were made to feel trustworthy, but they never trusted you. They were always side eyeing you. There was always somebody talking shit. I mean, we're as women are
Yeah.
catty. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Once I became a member of your community, I think at that point, because I did get a phone call from the creator and her sidekick questioning me about being a member of your community, and I said yes, I am. I'm friends with her, and I think after I did that, that they probably just were wanting to be rid of me since then. I think, no, I'm
And
not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying it's your fault, but I
no,
also
I know, I
think
know.
when I would write things in Slack, and I am a writer, and I would put things specifically, I think that she probably knew that I was going to put two and two together eventually. I think they wanted me out long before the whole docs thing happened. I could feel a sense of things being a little bit different, or not being, or people would say things in Slack, and I'm sorry, in the chat, and the moderators would take it away. Like, for instance, in a bidding of an auction, I was bidding for something. um I got a text and I said, "Oh, this person is bidding a real turquoise item, but nobody bought it," and she put it away. So then I sent a message to that seller and I said, "Can you please put it back out? I'm gonna buy it for that price because it was a really, really cheap price." So this person that has not come up and said that I stole the $175 was blocking me so I could not see her bids. And
Right.
and so the price of the item just went up. And eventually I stopped my bid, and it turned out that one of the moderators actually outbid her and bought that item for me and had it mailed to me. So there was a lot of things going on in the auctions with that particular person bidding against other people or saying things, but because she had blocked so many people, people couldn't see what she was saying about them. And
Well,
if she,
Tammy's always been a troublemaker. There was a question in the chat, and yes, it was because I don't mean to. This means nothing against you, Mimi, but Mimi was a top tier member over there, and it wasn't cheap. Okay, so yes, they wasn't like you're special because we see you interact a lot and blah blah blah. No, they were most definitely chosen who was allowed to be in Slack on the basis of she knew who to choose, right? She can act like it was anything different. It wasn't. And there was a point where they were actually bad mouthing me, and Mimi went up to defend me because at that point they were believing Dorothy. And I said this whole time, Dorothy was using them. And what do you know? How quick did Dorothy turn on MRB? Right? But yeah, little old me over here, keep an eye on Granny. She's trouble. No, they allowed Dorothy to manipulate them, get them not to like me. And then they didn't like that you supported me because then they couldn't trust you because I was not trustworthy because Dorothy was. And it's funny how that turned out. So
right,
fun.
I remember that night when I went up to tell the truth, and the sidekick made the suggestion to
This Lita
bring
wrote?
Dorothy up on the channel. I call her the sidekick. And I
Yeah.
said, "No, I'm not going to be on that panel if you're inviting her up on that panel." And I came down. And I was on the panel often. And that is a huge regret because everything on the internet is forever. So people will see me up there if those videos are ever shown. And I was wrong about what I thought about a lot of people. None of it was true. And if I ever hurt anybody by, going believing what was being told about them, I'm very sorry. I'm not the type of person that goes out purposely to hide, hurt people. I don't have a YouTube channel. I think one time I made a comment on my YouTube channel because when you get your YouTube account, you get a channel, and some big deal was made about that by some rambler. It was brought to the creator's attention on purpose. I didn't put that it was a shortcut. It was like a short where I was talking about people's comments being removed. It was not meant against MRB. It was just something that I said on my channel. It was a small video. This is before I even knew about privating your videos. I didn't know my music list was public, or like me filming my dog was public. And I mean, now it's all privated because you never know what they're gonna do. But I feel comfortable with the protection that I do have now, because I do have a lot of legal protection.
Right.
And I never wanted to come publicly and talk about it. I wanted this just to be over. And if that live never happened on Dorothy's, I would never have had to come up here and just tell my truth. I've been holding everything in
Yeah.
for months.
Months. So Rosalita wrote that MRB uses her members for the 3-month free trial for Slack. Caroline uses each member Slack for the 3-month free Slack in order to keep her Slack account going. I received a notice my 3-month trial was over, but never signed up for the free 3 months. And then there is the fact that she used Dreamin's information. That was absolutely wrong. And then we have down here that Tammy would order a lot of things through sellers and then not purchase them.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah. And Kellyanne, I did this. It always felt so wrong going. You were immediately felt like an outcast if you went into that chat. I mean, they had their crew, and you're just not really welcomed, which is fine. I mean, whatever, do your thing. But to side eye every new chatter, obviously you're going to get to a place where you have no new chatters.
Yeah, not a way to build a channel at all.
Somebody said, when you say you give her your social media, do you mean you give her the login? I don't think so, right?
No, I had to send proof of my Facebook. You know, what it showed my name, my picture. I had to show them my Facebook in order
3
to be
types
in
of
Slack.
fucking
I had to
identification to
provide
be part of the.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that was one of the things you had to provide to be a part of the Slack, a social media account, to say like, this is really me. This is my social media account. And then if you were special and you were allowed into the Slack, see, I think that's where everybody got fooled, because they thought it was like a positive thing to be allowed into Slack, not realizing that once you were in there, you're stuck in there. Because I have called Slack, and Slack has told me they cannot remove me from that Slack. Only the owner of the Slack can take you out. So even if I'm so-called deactivated, I could be reactivated at any time. I have no email sent to me proving that my account has been removed from that Slack account. It's only been deactivated. And there was another Ex Rambler that spoke about this. And I think everybody saw what happened when she was they were trying to make it seem like she was lying about what she was saying. She wasn't lying. She was telling the truth. And I think Rosalita just touched on that a little bit about other accounts being created.
Right. Yep. So the question was, Rosebud, I don't think so, but so Mimi, do you agree that MRB steered her community to hate bond against Natasha? And why did Merv single her out? Single Natasha out?
In my opinion,
no, Rosebud,
at that
no.
time,
I mean, believe it or not, Natasha did a lot of shitty things.
At that time,
Sorry.
a lot of creators didn't
Go ahead,
like
Mimi.
Natasha. A lot of times she didn't like Natasha, but there's definitely some type of war going on between Natasha and MRB. I don't think that's ever going away. I think it's always going to exist. You know, they battle each other.
Unless Natasha goes legal, like she says. And then we'll find out.
I know one thing. When my law firm was looking at civil action, I was not allowed to talk about anything. So she wouldn't be talking. She shouldn't be talking about her if she wants to take a legal action.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but you know,
I mean, it's different if it's going to be criminal charges, but civil cases are different. You need to shut your mouth.
right. Well,
Yeah.
we all know how we feel about that over here. So I think being a member of Scientology is stressful. Yeah. MRB getting the Security of Defense Agency because MRB received $1 in the mail and I was attacked. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'd have,
Okie mom. Sorry, go
you know
ahead.
what, Jess? You'd have to imagine also that people that were involved in that channel, they also would have been experiencing anxiety from their worry about the creator. It would have, they would have been, I noticed that after I was gone, I you know, after a lot of it had settled down, I didn't have anxiety. But if you're sitting there worrying about, everybody has their own family and things, and then you get close to a creator and you're concerned about their safety, it would cause you to have anxiety about that.
Absolutely.
You just can't. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And there's a perception. I insulting me by any means. I am the first person to tell all of you nothing on the internet is private. Don't trust anybody. And I'm often pointing out to you all the manipulation tools that many creators will use. And we're going to do a whole study on how cults are done on YouTube. There are definitely cults. Yeah, so NC is suing MRB now. She is for loss of income. She blames MRB for her losing her channels, when ultimately that will not make it very far because if she was following TOS, she wouldn't be able to lose her channels. So, yeah, I don't know. I will find out. But as far as like, well, yeah, Rosalie, that's NC's go-to. Yeah, that's always what it is. For
It's
until
the
it's
worst feeling just
gosh.
to be betrayed by someone that you cared about, that you stuck up for all the time. I had been blocked by so many people just for sticking up for her, and it was
You also
funny
blocked a
when,
lot of people. They're
yeah,
commenting
and
in the chat that you had blocked them, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
well, I don't think I have many people blocked unless they're ramblers.
Well, on your new account either, I don't think you do.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just weird because I remember the birthday cake incident. And I feel completely stupid right now because I even said, I think it was one of your members said something about the cake, and it, you know, it was also Pride Month, and something about how the cake was bought and the cake always all had rainbows on it, and I was stupid enough to put in the chat, "You're wrong. Show me the video because they don't buy store-bought cake." So like everybody is like, "Oh, this woman, she bakes, she cooks, she's a mom, she's a crafter." I mean, that's a mask. It's a mask. So now I have to, that
Well, it's
person knows
absolutely
who she is. That person knows who she is. So I'm gonna tell her, yeah, you're right. It was a store-bought cake.
It's absolutely amazing. I remember you got upset with me, but I'm sorry. I still think one of the funniest moments on YouTube is, and it's not because I think it's funny that this happened. It was the response afterwards that made it happen. When Jimmy fell down the steps, and Caroline is such a narcissist that she didn't ask if he was okay. She didn't give a shit about anything. She said, "You almost killed me, Jimmy." One of the funniest moments because it wasn't like, "Oh my God, honey, are you okay?" Or, oh Jesus, Jimmy, are you okay? It was, "You almost killed me, Jimmy." And then she goes to say that he almost made the cabinet thing fall on her head. But then her son points out that the cabinet's across the room. And I'm like, this woman is a fucking narcissist. But you loved her
Yeah.
so much that you were angry at me that I'm over here pissing my pants, watching repeatedly Jimmy supposedly falling.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, a lot of people warned me, and I should have listened to you. But I just thought that maybe she was someone that she needed protection. I really felt that she was in harm, and I felt sorry for her. I felt bad that she lost her child. That, like, that whole thing of her losing her son made me more empathetic towards her. I can't imagine losing a child. And I just thought, oh my goodness, this poor woman, she
Right.
lost her child, and all these people are being so mean to her. And, that also was used, in my opinion, that was used to get more sympathy. I don't wish it on anybody.
Oh, yeah.
It's awful, but I think at some point it just needed to not be brought up. And I also noticed, like, now that I'm watching other people's videos, that family, our family, they are brought up in a lot of videos. That case has been closed for so long. Why should it be brought? Why should their names be brought up? And why is
Mhm.
that still a part? If you look at her videos, that name is still a part of her tags. She needs to take that name
Yep.
off. The case is closed out of respect for her friend.
It was right, her supposed friend. It was horrible what, the way she weaponized that friendship, absolutely. Um, yeah, and the hitting of the deer, when the deer ran into her, and then she's
Oh my
yelling at the chat to
goodness.
call
I was
Judy
watching that. I was watching that.
instead of just ending her live and calling her Oracle.
I think it's the law
She
there that
doesn't
when
be funny, but she's so uptight that
she's very nervous when she
what is it?
drives for some reason. Oh, you went mute again for me.
Mhm.
Okay, so really, I
She's
believe the
very
law there is.
sheltered, in my opinion.
Don't you have to call like the park services when you do hit a deer? I think you have to. You can't just hit deer and leave them lying all
I
over the
don't,
road
well, yeah, I mean,
because
I
they
think
would,
that's pretty
yeah,
mean,
they would
but
either
it was
want to
funny 'cause
put it down properly, and it's a danger to other cars.
and she claimed that the deer hit her, and it's like, we all saw the deer, she just didn't see. I did not realize he was wearing a red onesie. I saw the comments about a red onesie, and I'm like, "What?" I almost didn't think it was really him to begin with. I started investigating the video, like, this man did not just tumble down the fucking stairs.
He
Or how about
actually
when they're in the
did.
bad neighborhood and yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Carol. I can empathize with her on the human motherly aspects. I like somebody asked you, Natasha coming out with the way he died. No, I don't think that's horrific. I don't think it was her place. I think if it was done to Natasha, she'd be throwing a fit. I think we don't have a lesser of two evils here, folks. We have evil people. And I think they both met their match. The only difference is Natasha is loud and will curse and will be straight out with what she said in such a sneaky way that is all mainly done behind the scenes. That's all.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he didn't get seriously hurt. I think
Oh,
maybe
you're a
the
rambler,
stairs
doors of
must have had
perception.
rugs.
So
Jeez.
doors of perception is a rambler, and nobody here is slandering Carolyn. What Carolyn has done to others is slander. So now I understand your hostility and your comments, but yeah, like another creator, it's not there's no slandering going on. These are all facts. All of it is a fact. She's been purposely not because she normally, when it came to Natasha, would immediately respond to everything. So I
Yeah,
don't
just be
know.
careful what communities you become involved in, because like there's a thing that says, it's a quote, when you're in it and you can't see it. So you get
Absolutely.
involved,
That is so
you
true.
get involved, yeah, you get involved, and you're not even realizing what risk you're taking. I mean, I knew that everything I did was done legally, and I got advice from an attorney. I, and I know that there are creators that have people who are not licensed running around investigating people and getting information.
Do you
That's
remember
more
when
dangerous.
do you remember when Natasha had a chatter named her lawyer?
I heard of it. I never watch her.
And the lawyer was saying stuff like, oh, she's having another fundraiser, Golden? Hmm. That's interesting because here's the thing. I actually, like I said, I found a lot of old stuff, and I have a screen recording of Natasha talking about the harassment fund. and switching his meaning and all that good stuff. But she also,
In the
oh,
mood.
one point bragged that she spent the money. Then she said she held on to the money. I knew she would use this to gain money. Is Natasha's ultimate goal is money. I've listened and watched 4 of the videos now, and for about 40 minutes of each, she goes on and on about money and her fundraisers, and claims that she only holds fundraisers because she no longer has memberships. But if you all recall, she was doing a fundraiser every other day when she had memberships, from the attorneys fund to the Dalton's fund to the haters fund to the hot tub fund to the all the time. So she's full of shit too. So I'm not surprised if she's using this to her benefit. But I don't think she'll get away with another attorney fund and not using it for an attorney. Right. No.
I know that you may not be used to
Nope.
properly. He's watching.
Sorry.
Yes.
I look back at some of these, I'm just laughing at them. But so basically,
And I actually created an email address just for.
oh yeah, guys, don't ever
and I
forget
actually
this either.
created An email address just for this. Just for this. And so any person to know the name of the attorney, where they're located, or anything of that nature, please email me at harassmentdefensefund@yahoo.com. And I actually created an email address.
And then remember, it turns to attorneys, and none of you were entitled to know any information. But we can do a whole live on that. Just today really is just for Mimi to get out her side of things, because she's been out here being slandered and gang stalked for so long now, and it's not right.
I did nothing to hurt that creator. In fact, I've so many people blocked me and wouldn't talk to me because I kept defending her, because I did believe everything. I mean, and we were laughing the other day, me and my cousin, about the whole store-bought cake thing, because like my grandmom, she never bought cakes. She made them like from scratch, not even from a box. And I said, yeah, you know, there's this lady, she'd like have all these cakes, and I would think that they were made for her. And she's like, who actually bakes cakes anymore? I said, well, we do sometimes, but you know, I'd just rather go to like a Publix and buy one. The Publix has amazing cakes. But I really understood what your member was talking about. Now I understand it, what she was saying about the cake. And I probably can't see her because I'm sure she blocked me after that. Because I said to her, what video? Where's the timestamp? That's not true. You're lying. And then recently I did see the video on another channel. And I said, wow. It was stupid. I mean, the behavior was ridiculous. I appreciate any time my husband buys me a cake or flowers or roses or brings me coffee. I just would never disrespect my husband. Never. Never. I don't know if you saw the video where like she won't eat the cake or blow the candles out or something. It was weird.
No, but everything's weird about her, so I'm not surprised. I can just imagine it. Making her own cakes, what will be what she defends. Of all things said, she'll defend the fact that she does make her own cakes, right? I
know she
always
makes
saw
ice cream
a
cake.
narcissist. I tried with her.
She
Yeah.
can make the ice cream cake.
I
She
tried
can do
really
the
hard
ice cream
with
cake.
Carolyn. Carolyn, a lot of people make fun of her decoupage, but she's the reason I began decoupage. And actually, Mimi, you sent me beautiful decoupage, one in honor of Nellie and one in honor of my juicy ant covered watermelon account, which I hope you all go subscribe to. I am back to using that channel. I want to clean up this one. But there were good aspects with her, but it was just so, you could smell the cult from a mile away. If you weren't part of it, you could smell it. And she does a lot of sneaky, conniving things. She knows her audience and she knows it well. You can say she's a good creator because she knows what she's doing.
Well, there's still a lot of people that will not believe anything. They won't believe anybody's truth. But it happened to me, and other bad things happened to other people. And I just can't believe it was all over a YouTube channel. That's just nuts. That's
and I want
crazy.
you to know, not only are you not alone because you do know that there's other people that have gone through it from her, but don't ever forget there are people that have gone through it through many creators on here where they feel like they were just mind boggled. Like, what did I just experience? So it's not, doesn't say anything about you or your character at all by any means. And I hope you know that and don't take it personally.
No, it's just weird because I remember I was almost, you know how you get like different stars or things beside your name when you the longer you've been there, and I was almost to my 24 months, and I was like, how stupid was I to just like even think that having that little sun beside my name was important, you know, just little things like that. It's
Well,
just
she does
I won't
that to
ever.
you. Like I said, if you chat as a newcomer in her chat, they side eye the hell out of you. Sometimes she'll even, and I know that so that's why the memberships meant so much because it meant you were part of them, right? Like the hey Mimi, hey Mimi, hey Mimi that you would
Yeah,
get. It is flattering. It is flattering to know that
yeah.
you belong somewhere and that people care about you. And it hurts when you find out that they didn't care about you as much as you cared about them.
Yeah, there are some ladies that they are my friends now, and they're not a part of that channel, but we don't talk about her. You know, we a lot of them are crafters. We'll talk about other stuff, but we're not talking about her. I did have some friends that did reach out to me. I had somebody that I never thought I would talk to again. I don't know how she found me. She reached out to me after a long time, and I was so happy. But I've noticed that some people, more people have left. I don't want anybody's channel destroyed. I don't want anybody hurt, but I think that if things are being said that are not true, that you have to set the record straight. And I mean, there are people like I'm like even Pastor Mill would know that I did not want to do this. That I did not want to do this. If Dorothy hadn't had that panel with misinformation and accusing me of theft, I wouldn't have come to the point where I'd be like, hey, I have to come up and tell my story, because I would just want it to just all go away.
Well, Dorothy's full of misinformation over there. Dorothy. It was your own friends that called CPS on you. It was Lindsay that tried to have Mariah removed from the home. She gets nothing correct over there. Literally nothing. Nothing. And this is all she has. This is her hope. Yeah, and girl, she built her channel of harassing and abusing people. Yeah, so has Dorothy.
Yeah, well, I knew she didn't like me from the night I went up on the panel to defend you and set the story, say something straight. And I got down from the panel. I didn't even get to finish debate because I mean I wasn't going to debate with somebody like that. I know how to debate, and I was offended that the sidekick, quote unquote sidekick, even suggested to bring her up on the panel. That was a slap in the
Right.
face.
I'm going to
Yeah.
say this. Anybody who support
It's just it is amazing looking back. You see you're right, Mimi. You can see you're a genuine, caring, and very truthful person. You didn't deserve any of this. Absolutely disgusting. Thank you, Jean. That is exactly right. That's an idiot, and we'll keep with this, Mimi. But we've got your back. Yep. There's
Thank
power in the
you.
truth, and there's power in numbers, and everybody here supports you. And we can all see what you've gone through, and it's not right, and you didn't deserve it.
Right, and the law
Thank
firm has a lot more evidence, a lot more evidence, just like things that people have said, and that I know that. Thank you. That I appreciate the community standing by me, and I did miss being able to come in and the Mimi 100 chat and joking around, and I couldn't go on any channel that I sub to. I was not allowed to use Mimi 100 in this part of YouTube. And I mean, I did get, thankfully, to Pastor Mill when I was going through this horrific time. He did give me some good counseling and some good advice. And I mean, it was always about just sticking to the truth, accepting what happened, and learn to heal from it. And I was healing from it until Tammy had to go on Dorothy's panel. I don't know why she felt she had to do that. And if the title of the live was something else, why was so much focus put on me? My name should never have been brought up at all. I don't know. You never know who's your enemy out there, I guess, on YouTube.
Well, you were a scapegoat. They didn't expect you to have the voice or the ability to speak out that you have. So they definitely misjudged you, because there's no way you were going to take this lying down. They should have known that.
Yeah, why would I take this woman's $175 and use it? But yet she did sign that receipt. It's a law firm receipt. How would I? That's a non-refundable. What did she think? I was gonna call up the law firm and say, "Hey, I that 175. Can you guys mail me a check?" It doesn't work like that. You pay a retainer. The law firm
Right.
keeps it, whether or not
And you
you pay the retainer.
saw her.
I mean, I don't know why she thinks that. I mean, her emails, and I don't know how she was able to email, because I had blocked everybody. I have a lot of software and stuff. I don't know how she was able to email me, but she seemed apologetic, and that yes, she was gonna go up and retract. And so I waited, and no retraction. No, I have.
And many times you see her weaponizing that 170. Please send me back the 175.
Yeah, she got the 175 back.
Because she's with Maryland, they should be speaking to us.
Oh, you
so that was an excuse to have the money back.
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry. I said there was many excuses. Mm-hmm.
She wanted it back because
Sorry.
I think she's
That's
angry.
what I was saying. Right. That's exactly what it is.
And I mean, if she thinks 175 is a lot of money for any type of legal work, that's just crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and she wanted the money back because she was mad that the attorney was speaking to MRB and not her. She wanted the money back because she needed it towards Christmas. She wanted the money back because she was made to feel like a piece of shit by Dorothy. So there was reasons why any good reasons though. And she got the money back. The receipts are on the screen. So for her to sit over in Dorothy's and claim otherwise and then send you emails that she's going to retract it, I mean, come on.
Yeah, it wasn't retracted. They didn't do it live. They should have. And I tried to strike the video. I don't know what YouTube's going to do about it. I mean, I did fill out the paperwork and everything. So, if YouTube wants the information, I can send them proof. We have a file. So it's just a shame that you go in with good intention and you come out with a ruined reputation plus other things that affect you. So I just wish that more people would come out and tell the truth, and that certain people would just not staunchly continue to defend this person. I mean, I think
if you guys remember,
come in here.
Sorry.
No, I think I saw somebody come in here and still defending her, which is crazy.
Yeah, they are. If you guys remember during the summertime, actually Natasha held a panel and Tammy went up on that panel and once again tried throwing it all on Mimi. And she did imply that she spent thousands.
Yeah, she said 5,000. I think she said 5.
And kept switching up that storyline, which is not true. She spent 175 measly dollars, signed a contract, and was given the money back, despite the fact that she should not have gotten the money back. She is lucky that Mimi gave her the money back, because Mimi could have said, no, you're shit out of luck. Sorry.
Yeah, I just didn't want her to call that law firm and destroy any relationships at our firm. All criminal attorneys, they end up working together. There could be multiple defendants. I didn't want my professional life being affected. They would not have given her the money. They wouldn't have. There's no way.
Right.
Retainers, and even if they lose the
Yeah, it's a
case, you're not
shame.
getting your retainer back.
It's a shame that 2 years later, this is
Well,
still,
yeah,
you
the
know, a false
2021,
narrative.
2022, 2023.
Yep,
It's,
upsetting.
people should be careful. They need to be careful about what they do, because I don't know how it went from her giving 175 to me stealing $5,000. Somebody did say that in the chat. What I can tell you is I got 75% discount, and it was for 3 days worth of work, and the total cost was $550.
Right.
That's with the 75% discount. There's somebody in the chat, and I'm not really paying
Yeah.
attention, that said
So,
that I'm amongst friends. So I just wanted to tell everybody that I really appreciate your support. I was terrified to do this today. I mean, I did.
yeah,
It
she
was
was
just something that
nervous.
needed to be done. Needed to be done.
Tammy did not
I
show
mean,
receipts. Tammy lied on several different panels about how much the money was. Tammy even emailed Mimi to tell her basically, I'm sorry that I lied on you. So there's that. I think I think ex Ramblers are speaking out, one of them, and I think I don't know. I think money is a motive for a lot of people. Such a shame. I
Amy,
agree, Amy.
I feel like, of all people, I should not have been caught up in that, because I've never been tricked like that. Never. No one's ever fooled me like that. It's a shame.
You were acting from your heart, and that's what matters at the end of everything is where your heart
I
lied.
think she really thought she was right.
Sorry.
You know, it's really
Yeah.
crazy. What
I don't
really
think
upset me? What really upset me was the fact that the idea was going around that I put Natasha Cooper in danger. That's not true. It's not true.
yeah. I remember how upset you were by that. You were like first off, there was no danger to be had. It wasn't even just you that had anything to do with this. There was many people involved.
People knew about it. The people had known about that for a long time, including other creators. So what I question the most is, we're talking, this is in July of 2022, many months after November 2021. What was the reason that that email was even brought up? I think I have an idea, but I can't prove it, so I won't say it. I think it was a distraction for something, and I'm pretty sure I know what what was trying to be distracted. But in the end, things are in litigation, and the truth is all going to come out in court.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you have the truth on your side, so
Yeah, I have a lot of evidence. I have a lot of receipts, and the accusation that this poor other sub would let me listen to a Zoom that I was already on, that we have the entire calls downloaded. We know how long the Zooms were. And I feel bad that that person was fooled into going into another Zoom where she was then attacked and accused by several women. That is such gang behavior.
it is. It is gang behavior. I remember at one point, a lot of Carolyn's subs were coming over here, Ramblers, and Carolyn couldn't stand that. She couldn't stand it. So she would watch in the shadows and look for me to make one mistake, one thing she didn't like, so that she could have a reason to go at me. And I remember even you at the time, Mimi, would be like, "Oh, I can't be in there if this is being said." And I'm like, "Well, we're not even
Right.
saying anything bad." But that's how brainwashed she had you all to be, to only be sheep for her, quite frankly.
Yeah,
And
I
she
would
got
leave
her wish, and
chats. I would leave chats when people started talking about her.
Called me a pill popper, which I couldn't believe. I still can't believe it.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, even if it wasn't bad, even if we were just being silly. But
Yeah,
it
I
happens
just
to
didn't want her
everybody,
to
and
get hurt.
I'm glad that you were able to. Right.
Can you still
And
hear
does
me,
that
Jeff?
make you a bad person? No. Yes.
Well, I'm away from that community, and I have a lot of support from a huge group of attorneys. And the point is that when that doxing happened, it didn't only dox me, it doxed another law firm's employee. So I'd be very worried when you start messing around with law firms. You know,
And not only
that
that,
man's
but
life could have been put in danger.
and it also, they doxed the wrong or I'm sorry, they doxed something that they shouldn't have doxed, because right down the bottom it says that is confidential. I
And
agree with that,
actually,
Enchanted. We were going to get to that.
you could see the email was moved around because that disclaimer was put on the top of a thread. So where's the rest of the thread? That was only meant for her. It's an actual. The disclaimer comes from a statute, and you're not supposed to show it to anybody else. Never mind putting it on a public platform like YouTube.
Right.
It
Hey,
should
Stacy,
never have
welcome
been
back.
done.
The way she was doxxed, Jennifer, she was basically demanded to take a link, and if she didn't take the link and come up right now and speak, I mean, I was watching this stream because Mimi couldn't. She couldn't watch it, which I went through with Dorothy at one point, so I get that. I don't watch bad streams about me either. And I watched as other Ramblers, ex Ramblers, tried to defend Mimi, and they were deleting comments left and right. So anyway, of course, Mimi did not take to the demand, like a good little lapdog should, and go up on that link. So Carolyn pulls up the documents showing Mimi's name, the lawyer's name, and trying to put all the blame again on Mimi, acting like she was unaware that there was even a thing.
Well, the
PI.
good thing is that she never got any information on Natasha. I was told from the very beginning that no YouTube account holder would have any personal information on Natasha Cooper. It wouldn't have happened. So I don't know who's been sitting under her porch or following her around or whatever those claims are. Has nothing to do with me or any law firm. That's not how it works. Not how it works. It's not like 1970s television. Horrible.
Right. I did get that replay. Yeah. But ultimately, you were not the one that sold out this PI. You were not looking to endanger Natasha or her family. You were looking to protect Caroline and hers on the basis that you believed what you were being led to believe, right?
Right. And the fact was that I was an asset because, first of all, they knew that I worked with attorneys, and the fact that I did live in the same state as Natasha.
Right.
And then Tammy was the one that offered to offered money. I never asked Tammy to contribute. She offered because I believe, this is my belief only, that she wanted to be a part of it, to somehow get some recognition from Carolyn that she was a part of it. And I know that she went ahead and she told Dorothy about it. That's how Dorothy found out about it. We're talking months and months and months ago. And other creators knew about it. This was no big secret in this part of YouTube. I mean, I just don't even want to think who, if somebody
Right.
was,
All right. So,
watching Natasha, if somebody was not watching Natasha, if they were on her property, they were doing it illegal. I don't know who that person was. I have nothing to do with that person. I have no documentation about anything about Natasha. I don't even know where she lives. I don't even know her kids' name. I mean, I know one kid's name. I don't know anything about her family. I don't care about her family. You know, like if you want to put your family on YouTube, then you must know that predators on YouTube are going to attack your family. Keep your family off of YouTube.
yeah. Well, I'm one of those people that believe we should be able to do whatever we want without having people invade our real lives. I have a question. Was there a letter you wrote to the PI? What is that in reference to?
It was just through emails. It was only through emails. I only communicated
Okay.
him through emails, and I think I had one conversation with him at the beginning, and then I had to call him that night when he was doxxed. Imagine me having to call this man and tell him that
Right.
he had been
Oh yeah,
doxxed on
sorry, you were
YouTube.
doxxed because of YouTube fuckery, right?
Yeah.
I asked because Natasha mentioned something about a letter that you wrote to a PI.
No, the only
Because I
thing
guess
that
Natasha doesn't have her listening ears on and she can't fucking comprehend what is being said right now, which is that Mimi did not do this and she didn't do it to hurt Natasha. So, of course, Natasha has to, not listen to the entirety, I guess.
the only things that were in the email was information that was public information on Google. It was already on Google. I just gave him the information. These are the accusations. Is this woman in danger?
Right.
And I considered her a friend. I considered her a friend. I said, my friends, something. I don't remember the exact sentence because the email, when we have 3 copies of that email, and they're all 3 are different. And the only one that's right is my copy.
Now, I do remember. I remember Kim and Crafton did read out a fake letter, but this is what Natasha basically says, and I don't know. Not the music, sorry. What the? Oh my God, you're not a baller or a caller. Did I miss the memo that we're supposed to open up live streams with fucking music, with 3 minutes of rap songs playing? This is what she said.
Yes. So, it is what it is. But I live in Florida too, Mimi. You should probably remember that because the letter that you wrote just to the PI, what it is.
So whatever she's saying there, basically, I live in Florida too, Mimi. So you should probably remember the letter you wrote to the PI. What fucking letter?
No letter. There was only communication through emails. That is a complete lie.
Well, there you go, Natasha. So whatever letter you're threatening Mimi on the basis of, you're not quite sure what you're speaking of. Right, Jamie?
Right. That's not how things work. Things are, it was just email communication, a telephone call, and I had to call him and tell him he was doxxed. I had to let him know he was doxxed.
I mean, that's what infuriates me, though, is that, like, Natasha can't listen to everything Mimi's saying. She has to take what she wants and still try to make it something it isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was never. A law firm would never do anything to endanger another person. That's not how it works. We have so many restrictions. We're not even allowed. Say, for instance, if we have a client and their mom would call and ask us about their case, we're not even allowed to talk to their mom about their case.
Right. Let me tell you guys a few things. First off, I don't need content. I have content every day. I can get up here and speak about anything just like anybody else can. I don't need content. This is because Dorothy hosted a liar that for her truth. This has nothing to do with what Natasha's doing, has nothing to do with MRB or needing content. The fuck out of here. I get more views talking shit than I do this. It has nothing to do with content. It's helping a friend out. Shut up, Natasha, because I found a bunch of bullshit on you. You don't want me to go into those. And I mean a lot. We got a lot of screen recordings here.
She was never in danger. Her family was never in danger. I don't know who's endangering her family, but that's not how it works in the legal field. And we deal with criminal cases. And just even the ridiculous idea that I would break Florida law by listening on a telephone call, and the accusation that other sub would have done that caused a lot of problems for that sub. She went through basically a full-blown attack by people, and I told her, do not click on that Zoom, do not go into that Zoom, but she still went in the Zoom, and it was horrible what was done to her. And there was even something racial that was said in that Zoom. And if you ever notice that channel, it's not a diverse channel. If you really look at it, it's not diverse at all.
Right. No, that's all this comes down to is she's just mad that you didn't go to her because she's been begging Ex Ramblers to take her link. And just like any other time, nobody does. They're not stupid to leave one cult and enter another. But yeah. Now, I think there's a lot of secret dealings going on with MRB and all the things over there. They're coming out, Doors of Perception. I told y'all we're doing another stream. This isn't. Today was strictly MRB. People felt like that was just defendant NC, so be it, but it's not. It's simply saying people were led to believe things that were not true.
I mean, who wouldn't want to help somebody that lost a son and you just thought
Natasha,
they were being tortured, being tortured? I mean, I felt really bad for her. I had complete sympathy for her. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with that channel now because more people are going to start speaking up. People are not going to stay quiet, especially when those people who are in litigation start winning their cases. Somebody else might pop up. But I said, I told my truth. That's what I wanted to do.
right? That's right. Yeah, right, Jean. Her turn's coming up. Actually, I have a really nice panel right now. That's Natasha, Kim, case discussion, Stacy Lynn. We got quite a few with Siren. Oh yeah, we got a lot to go over when it comes to her. Today was Mimi's chance to speak her truth, and that's what this was. This was not meant for Natasha.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Jess.
You're welcome, Mimi. Anytime. Like I've told you before, we're here for you. You don't have to be silenced. You don't have to take this alone. And I'm glad that you are in a better place now to deal with everything because I know it was really hard at first.
Yeah, it affected my health. Really affected my health.
No, these are all recordings, Oki. Yeah, they did. It did really affect your health. And for a while, you know, you took this on alone and hid in the backdrop, hoping it would go away. And the fact that Dorothy to this day is hosting liars to spread your name to further through the mud, you had a right to come up today and say this.
I waited for the attraction, and it didn't happen.
Right, and you've shown me that.
Yeah,
you've shown me that you've waited, and I'm glad you had this chance today, and thank you for trusting me as a place to do it, and knowing that everybody here supports you.
Thank you, everybody. And that's
well. I guess we will wrap this up.
Truth.
You're welcome. Yes, and we showed receipts, and that's that. These people can twist their narratives. Natasha, you can keep on with your threats. You don't have no clean hands over there, Toots. All right, you don't have clean hands. This was Mimi's story. This wasn't yours. So sit down. I agree with that, Solo. All right, guys. I will see you all. I don't know, in a little bit. Don't forget to subscribe to the backup channel. And that's where I will likely be going live to push all this other stuff out. Thank you for remaining respectful. Thank you for supporting Mimi. Thank you for not passing judgment and doing so, you know, in a respectful manner. Nobody should have to go through this simply because they decide to no longer support a creator. And no subscriber should take the downfall or be doxxed and thrown out to the wolves on the basis that, you know, they didn't continue marching to your beat. You didn't deserve any of it.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. It was really hard for me to come up and do this. You know, it's been months that I wanted to do this. And Aurora, you can tell. Thank you, Aurora.
Where is she?
I love you too. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Aurora knows how sick I got as well. She knows.
Yeah, they were a lot of the names being blocked for trying to defend you that night in her chat. So, yeah, I remember Aurora being one of them.
said I really cared about a lot of those people, and
All
I
right,
guess if
Mimi, I will
they
talk.
didn't stick up, it wasn't they didn't like me to begin with. So I don't need. I have friends that stuck by me, but we just haven't discussed it. We just let it. I thought it would go away.
Well, one day, Mimi, they will need a new target. I mean, that's how it always goes. It's the way the YouTube world turns. And I am sure once it is turned on to them and they go through what you went through, they will further understand how you felt and regret not having your back.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people that I can't say names and they know who they are. I want to say thank you for always keeping in touch with me and supporting me. I know you couldn't do it publicly, but thank you. There's several ladies, they know who they are. And they didn't just get rid of me like some of the other people.
I'm glad you had that.
And thank you just for giving me a chance to come on your panel and discuss it where I could feel comfortable about talking about it. And I still, I have been in your chats this entire time. And I was just like, wow, I can't even say I'm Mimi. It was horrible. But I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have any legal restraints on me anymore because we're not going after anybody civilly. So for me, I could talk about it. Everything just worked out in a certain way. And I feel so much better now. Thank you so much, Jessica, and everybody in the chat. And I can't say all the names. I see
Oh,
Pastor Mill in there, Jill, Aurora, and many, many people. Thank you so much. I'm glad that people know what really happened.
you're welcome. And thank you. Thank you.
Have a great day,
All right,
Jess.
guys, we will see you back at another.
Bye, everybody.
You as well. That is the truth. That's Mimi's truth. Take it for what it's worth. Receipts were shown, and nobody should have to go through things like this. Absolutely nobody is sick the way some people run YouTube like a cult. It's absolutely mind blowing. So believe me, I have plenty of content coming up, and yeah, we will speak all about it on another date. I hope you all have a great Friday, and I'll see you all soon.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, Jess. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, Mimi. You're welcome.